Good afternoon. Today is February 5th, 2015. This is our 11th All the Leads Mastermind call. Chad and I, no pressure, guys. Chad and I were saying I think every call has been better than the one before. The last one last week, we went overtime, and it was just chock full of information. So no pressure. This is going to be a good one. We've got about 20 of us on the call right now. The only housekeeping I wanted to mention, as we add and implement things, I just want you guys to be aware of it. As we were waiting to get on the call, I mentioned to Sandra Marconi, if you haven't done so, whitelist all the leads so when you get emails from us, when you get your leads, it doesn't go into spam. We've had a few people this week looking for their leads, and I wanted to make you guys aware, if you're wondering if your leads came in yet, if you're wondering if maybe you missed the email, you can just go to the members site. All of you should know how to go to alltheleads.com, sign on as a member, and go to the back end, the restricted area. All the way down the bottom of your page, there's going to be a link with all of your leads that have come in. So if you lose them, if you can't find the email, if you're not sure if they came in yet, just check the back end of the web page, and they'll be there. Be kind of a permanent storage place for your leads. Make sense?
Yeah. Jim, whoever has the background noise, if you don't mind, please mute out.
Yeah, I'm going to experiment till I find that person. Hang on, Chad. Is that better?
There it is.
Yep.
That's
Last person to sign on. And Carl, it's you. Carl, for now, I muted you out. If you can get rid of that background noise or take it off speakerphone, when it comes time for questions, I'll try to open you back up.
I'm trying to figure out how to do that.
Oh, no. Was that Carl that just said that?
Yeah, done.
Okay, yeah, whatever you did. I thought I muted you out, Carl. Do you have somebody else? Is there somebody else from a 626 area code? No?
Yeah, I should have somebody else on, yes.
Okay, that's the person then that was where the background noise was. And I muted them out.
Problem solved.
What's that?
I said problem solved.
Okay, problem solved. Chad, anything you want to start off with this week?
I have spent quite a bit of time with several of our members individually on one-on-one kind of jumpstart sessions, and hopefully they got as much from it as I did. I really enjoyed hearing about other people's businesses and helping get this implemented. And the one thing I find is the common denominator: the people that just go for it are doing the best. So if anyone on the call is new and you don't know where to start, don't let this overwhelm you. Reach out to us. I'm willing to help you with tech. I'm willing to help you, with systems. Just get it into your business. But you don't have to do it all at once. Do the right things in the right order. And if you don't know what those things are, reach out to us and we'll help you. So I'm excited to be bringing new people on and hearing all the success stories. And I look forward to hearing some of you guys share on the call today.
Excellent. I had a stranger show up in my office, David Bryan from South Carolina, on the way back from South Beach, Miami, stopped into my office, and I wasn't sure whether to take this as a compliment or not. He said, "I want to figure out how to be a lazy agent like you." I said, "Oh, thanks, Carl," but I kind of took it as a compliment, and we've talked about this in the last couple of calls. Probate is such low-hanging fruit that there really isn't any bad way to pick it. I mean, you could pick it fresh. You could be aggressive. You could make calls. You can send out letters, like Paul Hayhurst and David is basically doing. Or what David's actually done. Good analogy. He's kind of hired people to pick the fruit for him. He's got a whole team of people that he actually has people calling and setting the appointments for him now, because he's taken on 4 counties and he's looking at taking on another one. Or you can be like me. I just cast a big net and wait for the fruit to fall. I've got 4 other businesses I'm running. So honestly, all I do is just send out one letter, do one voice cast, and I take the really, really low hanging fruit. And I'm not saying that's the right way to do it, but what's so interesting? We have people sending letters. We have people making calls. We have people doing both. We have people calling the attorneys, and the fruit is hanging so low. If you do anything, just shake the tree a little bit, and some of it's going to fall off. Before we came on the call, there was a couple questions. I know Emrod in New York City. Emrod, first of all, you had a question about call loop, and you said that you had started to call attorneys. So would you?
Yeah, Jim. Okay.
One you want to go? Yeah.
Yeah. So Call Loop, when I was actually checking on this, and that is a free trial, and when I see that the monthly charges are $49 a month, if Chad can answer me, is this covering up to a certain number of calls? You're just leaving messages. How many messages can you actually leave in a month with that monthly service charge, or is there any other charges other than $49 a month for Pro?
Go ahead, Chad. I can answer that. I think I'm using Call Loop. Chad's using a more sophisticated service. Call Loop is basically 5 cents a call. You don't really get a huge. Matter of fact, I'm not sure you get. I think you get if you sign up for the $49 a month, they give you a handful of extra leads. It's not a great value. I just use a pay as I go. Every time I run low, I recharge it with another $100, and that gives me another what's $100? 5,000 voicemails that I can send out. Now, if you get up into the volume, Emrod, you can get it down to, if you sign up for like 25,000 or 50,000 voicemails, you can get it down to 3 or 4 cents a piece. But until you make sure that it works, I recommend you just do it $50 and $100 at a time and just pay as you go. And then Sandra was alluding to the fact that the one thing that I don't like about their service, it's extremely easy to use online platform. You go, you load it, you get up, and then you have to wait for somebody on the other end to activate you. And I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah.
Maybe
that I haven't encountered yet.
Yeah, Sandra had the same thing. It took her 3 days to get activated. And Chad, do you have a sense of why they do that? I think it's to make sure that you're a human, you're not a computer, you're not abusing the system and making a whole bunch of unwanted calls. That would be my guess, because it would seem like they'd ought to be able to automatically activate you. Sandra, you did.
They have a live chat, so what I did, they unlocked in a few minutes.
Oh, good. Okay. Well, that's a good idea. So
live chat. So you just have to
wait for somebody to call you back. Just go to the chat site. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Excellent. Emrod, you also said you started to make some attorney calls this week, and you were having pretty good success, right?
I just started calling today. I told my assistant, go ahead, put those numbers in the Vulcan, and I started calling, and I was able to reach out of 35 calls that I made, I reached all of the assistants for lawyers, left messages. I was able to reach about 4 lawyers. 3 of them were asking me, do you have a buyer? I said, yes. I said, okay, I will have my client call you.
Excellent.
So I get to send them a letter. Now, my question is, do you guys have any kind of standard letter for the lawyers, that intro letter that we can send? Content of the letter?
Chad, I don't think we have anything on our site yet. It's probably something we should put there. Have you run into anybody who has one?
Nobody has shared one with us. It's been successful. I know there are some guys in Florida that have started sending letters to attorneys. Unfortunately, here in Virginia, I don't get attorney information because they don't handle probate here. So I haven't really built out that part of built that out in my business. What I will do, Imran, we'll talk to some folks and see what we can get for you. I don't know, are any of the guys on the call that I'm trying to remember? Jim, who was the guy in Central Florida?
I know Paul Hayhurst was prospecting.
Paul was working on it, and there was one other guy in the same general area.
We sent a whole. This is Sandra. We sent a whole packet that we have put together that we thought we were going to send to like the potential sellers, but we decided to start sending those packets to the attorneys, and it just talks about our team, who we are, because we were featured in a magazine here in Houston. It talks about some of the different companies that we work with, like Biohazard, like if there's been a murder, suicide, somebody to clean the house up. We've got a junk people, that can haul off. We have a list of who all our vendors are that we work with. And so when I talked to this attorney in Dallas, he was very receptive. He goes, oh, yeah, I'll keep your name. I said, oh, better yet, let me send you our packet so you'll have all of our information. He goes, oh, that's perfect. So we popped that in the mail to him, And then when we get back from convention next week, I'm going to follow up with him as well, too. Now the rest of my week has just gone to hell in a handbasket, so that's about all I did. But I did handwrite him a note because I did speak directly to him, and he was extremely receptive.
That's awesome. Thank you, Sandra.
You're welcome.
I mean, you couldn't do much better than that. If you guys get your USP into a brochure and get that in the hands of the attorney, I think that's powerful. But and then we'll talk to some of the other people that have tried letters and see how that's working and get you a copy of it.
Sure.
Sandra, would you be willing to share your package for everybody to kind of take a look at?
Oh yeah. Don't ask me how, but yeah, I'll be happy to.
Well, I think
Jim is well aware I'm not very computer literate. I mean, I can do stuff because Call Loop and I were going to go head to head, and we still don't have it quite done yet. So because we got so many.
Somehow I get the feeling they would have lost.
I would go up against you, that's for sure.
I'm really nice.
Yeah.
But Sandra, if you can just email that to me, I'll get it on the Facebook Mastermind group so everybody can take a look at it.
Okay, I will.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other success stories this week? Anybody want to share anything that has worked for them with the group? There's about 26 of us on the call right now. Somebody must have had a good win. You know why it's so quiet? David Bryan's traveling today. He usually talks half the call. David has had the leads now. One thing he did that was smart, guys, and I'll kind of volunteer for him. When he ordered the leads, he ordered 90 days back leads, so he got a ton of them to start with. And he had him and his assistants just get on the phone and start calling people. Last time I talked to him, he had set, in 2 weeks, he had set 20 appointments.
25 off of 200.
Was it 25? Wow.
It's a 1 to 10 ratio on cold calling, which is awesome.
1 to 10? 1 out of 10 people he's calling, he's setting an appointment?
Yes.
Wow. That is phenomenal. I used to make 100 contacts a day, and I was glad if I got 1 or 2.
Well, I will say that my son, who's my buyer's agent, and this is Sandra again. I'm sure y'all can tell by my accent. But anyway, the first phone call that he made, he got his little hiney torn up because the people were like, you're an ambulance chaser. How rude of you to do that. And, of course, he's only a year into the business. And, he kind of looked at me like, yeah, I'm not going to touch those again. And I'm just like, of course, some of my friends in the business that are not in Houston, because I'm not sharing this, they were all like, oh, my God, y'all are ambulance chasers. And I'm like, no, we're not.
Sandra, I have never had that happen to me, but I know Chad had it happen one time. And Chad, I love the way you handled it. Would you share that?
Yeah, it was actually a realtor's husband who had passed away, and she was one of the top agents in our market, and I didn't even notice, the name. So we sent the mail, and she blasted me through email. And I just went right back at her the same way I would with, on a phone call. I mean, that's why I'm so insistent that you guys get your why in place first. Like, start with why. Because when and if that happens, I simply said, you know what, I understand it might be abrasive to you, but we really are doing this as a community service. I recognize a need in my market, and I know that I'm more qualified to sell homes, for higher prices and in a quicker time frame. And I've built a team specifically to helping people that are in your situation. So I don't feel a bit bad about this because I know I'm doing it for the right reasons. And I mean, she just totally turned 180 degrees, and we did a deal together the next week. So I've only hit it once. Like, you're not gonna, you guys that are getting ready to make calls, don't think that that's going to be common. Like, it's definitely a rarity, but it will happen. And you just need to know that you're doing it for the right reasons, and it doesn't matter. That you're going to come across bad apples in any business and any strategy.
And Sandra, your son just had really bad luck on the first call, but on average, it's about 60 days from the time the person died until the probate's filed. So it's it's not an ambulance. The ambulance is long gone. I mean, most of the people have had some time to grieve by the time you talk to them.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Yeah, and you don't want to call them.
The day after.
You don't want to call them the day after. You can see when they died. So
yeah, exactly.
This is Carl here.
Yes, sir.
So all of this stuff. I'm 82, and all of this stuff is a learning curve. So I've got top producer, and I'm calling them, and they're coaching me as to what I need to do each time I get into it. So each step of the way, I learn a little bit more. I made in an hour's period of time about 10 calls. The first 2 calls were very frustrating because the numbers were just not good.
Sure.
That kind of stuff. I said, "Oh my God, what did I get from these guys?" And so the next one I was able to get a hold of, and we opened up a conversation. I found that it was a trust, and he's fighting his brother. He went to court in order to force a sale, and so he was suspicious of me. Maybe his brother put me on the call and so on and so forth, but I was able to get his name, his number, and all of the information, get it into the database. And the next call was somebody up in Northern California where his son passed away. So before I finish 10 calls, I have 2 leads. One of them that will probably list with as soon as you get the approval with another party. But the other one, I'm pretty sure that I'm going to get out of 10. I don't know if that's going to hold how it will go as we move along. I've got agents that are with me that are basically probably fearful of making calls. But if I can set an example and I can show some wins, they certainly will let go of some of the fear and jump in and do it.
Did you guys hear Carl? He said Carl's 82 years old and he's taking this on as a new business.
That's great.
That's phenomenal.
That eliminates any of our excuses on the call.
And
that's
Carl,
fabulous.
When we talked earlier, Carl had boiled this down to $1 per hour. Like he's breaking this down, and he figured out he's making $1,000 an hour making these phone calls.
Every time I spend an hour calling.
Wow.
It's worth $1,000. Probably a lot more than that, but
I want you to track it, because I think in your price point, like in LA County, I think you're going to blow that number out of the water in 30 days.
So what I'm saying is that you guys are actually more valuable than attorneys that charge $400 or $500 an hour. You are realtors and investors. Yeah.
I love it. Hey, one comment in case you guys don't realize it. The data on the phone numbers, the data we get is 100% accurate when we get it from the courthouse. About 25% of these have phone numbers listed for the executor at the courthouse. The other phone numbers, we run it through several online databases before we deliver the phone numbers to you. So if you have 3 phone numbers, chances are one of them is going to be a fax machine, a disconnected phone number, or a wrong phone number. But if you call, like Carl found out, like your son, Sandra, got balled out on the first call. The first 2 calls he made were bad phone numbers. Don't give up. If you call all 3 numbers, the vast majority of the time, you're going to reach the seller on one of the numbers. You just gotta, you gotta go through the bad ones to get to the good ones.
Right.
So, excellent.
And we find, and you're gonna, and Carl, what you said, you made 10 phone calls and 2 were bad numbers. That's what I find. About 80% of the numbers are good, and 20% are disconnected, or they're just somehow they got thrown in there. It's not a perfect science, but it's a heck of a lot better than not having phone numbers. So just keep that in mind. Don't get frustrated when you call a bad number. Just go, hey, I got 8 yeses and 2, 8 good ones and 2 bad ones. That's pretty good odds.
I have a question on the way the data comes over to the right. If there's no house attached, Jim, does that mean that there's no house involved in the probate?
No, not necessarily. Is that Betty that's asking that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Betty, the way probate is structured, you really can't be 100% positive what and if the real estate is without calling the probate attorney. All that really what the data you get on there is the last known address of the person. Sometimes it'll be the probate. Sometimes it'll be a nursing home. It just might be that he moved a few times, before he passed away, and they don't have a last known address. It does not mean that there isn't probate. So you're really the only way you can. Enrod has taken a lot of time and effort. Enrod actually takes all of them and cross-references them against his county records to see what they own. And that's time-consuming, but Enrod, how many leads are you getting a month? You're getting a ton of leads, and you don't want to mail to a ton of them that are not good. You're
Right.
Yeah.
You're getting
About
400,
275, I believe. I'm getting. No.
How many?
Question to you: 275 to 300.
Okay, perfect.
So out of that, about I would say 100 has no properties at all related.
Before
to
you
that.
go, Enrod, but to clarify, Betty, don't assume anything by
Okay,
the
gotcha.
listed for the
Yeah.
seller that's there or there isn't. Go ahead, Enrod.
Yeah. Now, question to you: that there are 20 to 25% has no numbers at all.
Right.
So when I found out, I actually reached out to Vulcan 7, and I had to purchase, those numbers from Vulcan 7. I did it yesterday because I'm missing out those, calls because you never know. I mean, these people probably still didn't list or they have the property to sell.
I think that's an aberration for New York because, and the rest of you can chime in Florida, it's rare that I don't get at least one phone number for somebody. So 25% of yours are not getting any phone numbers, Emrod?
Yeah. Like I have sent about 84 out of last 3 months list.
Okay.
And I had to scrap that because a lot of them didn't have any properties.
It's
84.
It's interesting you mentioned that because we're talking to Vulcan 7 about having them supplement phone numbers. So do me a favor, take a look at the numbers they give you and tell me, how many of those are good compared to the ones we're giving you. We'll try to keep improving the efficiency of the quantity and the quality of the numbers you get. Let us know if they're a little bit, at least in your market, if they're a little bit better, and because we're talking to them already about using them to supplement.
Sure.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
Guys, boy, a half hour goes by quickly. We still have a good 10 minutes. Any other wins or any questions anywhere that you guys are getting stuck? No?
I guess I would like to know how soon those letters are going to be going out. Do we have any idea on that?
Tim should be placing your order today, Sandra.
Okay, cool. So that we come back, we'll have tons of business from convention, right? Good. That's what we like.
Hey, Jim.
Yes, sir.
There he is. David Ryan.
You
How
made
you
it
doing,
back.
brother?
Are you on the road, or did you make it back to South Carolina?
Yeah. Well, I've been on another conference call, and I was running late trying to get off of that. But and I hate I've missed most of the call. Betty and I wanted to have a little three-way conversation with you after your conference call, if you could. Okay.
Sure.
And I've got to run. I got somebody waiting on me, but.
Yeah, let us just email me. The two of you email me, and I'll probably involve Chad. I'm going to be tied up for about an hour, but later on this afternoon it'd be great.
All right. Well, Well, Betty, will you do that, please?
Yeah, just send an email, Jim.
Yeah, let me know what time works for you guys, and I'll
Okay.
verify with Chad, and we'll.
Yeah, I thought we were going to try it immediately after the call, but if that doesn't work, but just let me know something, okay?
By the way, I don't think anything's going on between Betty and David, but they're in adjoining counties. So you never know, but they're actually working out a collaborative effort to work on these together, which I think is really cool. They're licensed in different boards, and they've got a master plan to do that. So after it's successful, we'll bring it back to the group.
Yep.
Who else has a question?
So, Jim, I have a question. If I subscribe to older leads, like 4 months old, because this is my third month, is it the cost is the same?
When you make your initial order, as long as we have the people at the courthouse, we can go back. We can go back as far as a year, but we usually recommend 3 or 4 months back is pretty good because they're all going to be still pretty fresh, and it runs about 80% of the cost of a regular lead. It's about a 20% discount.
I got you.
But there's still a cost associated.
Yeah, even if I reached out to a month-old lead, some of them, they sold the property and they listed the property. There are a lot of them.
There's a lot of them.
They either sold, they either listed the property, they're on the market, or they sold.
Interesting.
So if it is 4 months old,
there's going to be a certain
old, they may be in the
them.
process. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Chad.
There's going to be a certain percentage of them that actually list even before they file probate.
Yeah,
I
agree with you.
A lot of times when mom and dad go to the nursing home, they go ahead and list the house because they want to get it off of get it off the balance sheet so they can get Medicare. So a lot of these, some of them will go into assisted living. The house goes on the market. then the probate's filed, and then you call and they're like, oh, we've already sold it, or it's already been listed, and that's I don't know the percentage, but I see that in my market too.
Yeah. But can they close prior to settling the probate?
They can in Virginia. I think Florida's different. Jim's market is different, but here,
No, you can't.
you can actually. Here they can actually. I've closed them, and then the proceeds go into the probate. The only thing that you have to be aware of is there's a higher cost for title insurance, and in Virginia it's almost double for a title policy here to close one before before the probate records or closes.
And it's interesting. Every state is different. I've been told in Florida it depends on the specific provisions of the will. And one thing I can tell you, though, from doing these guys for about almost a year now, I find just the opposite to be true. I find that a vast majority of the people don't think they can do anything until the probate's completed. So when I call and tell them,
They're a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, when I call and tell them, oh, you don't have to wait till you have to wait till it's completed in most cases to actually close. But we can get it listed today. We can start marketing it, and chances are we'll have a buyer by the time the legal work is done. I've only had two that were able, because of the provisions of the will, to close where they escrowed the money, and put it in escrow. So, and I find in my market, I find it very rare that somebody's already listed and sold before the probate. I think I shared with you guys I went in a $2.5 million listing appointment from a letter I had sent out a year ago, and it was just a very convoluted, complicated probate. It took them that long to settle it, and they waited till it was settled to consider listing. So it's going to vary from state to state, but I think those are going to be the minority. I don't think a majority of them are going to be listed or sold. You're just finding a small percentage, right?
But yeah, I think, Imran, getting back to the root of your question, yes, continue to market to them. It's just like anything. The more touches you have, the more successful you'll be. And people, it's almost impossible to figure it down to the science, like, which ones of these will sell in 1 month versus 6 months. I think calling is a good way to do that, or maybe even after your 3 letters, you transition to a postcard campaign for the next 3 months. So you do 3 months of letters and 3 months of postcards to help control your marketing costs. There will be deals in there. The great thing about sending the letters the way we do, and the reason people will call you a year later, is because we send letters in greeting card envelopes and with a very direct message. So I find they don't tend to get thrown away. We get phone calls off of lists 3-4 months back, and who knows, that letter's been pinned to the refrigerator or sitting on the coffee table because it was unique. It was something different. It stood out in a pile of mail. It had a hand address. It was in a pastel blue envelope. And so I think that you probably will do more deals if you continue to market over a 6-month period. But I think that the nature of the mail we send, it just sticks around longer, so you don't necessarily have to. I think you'll still get residual business.
Excellent. We probably have time for 1 or 2 more questions. Who else has a question?
This is Sandra again. Is the double leads that we got this last time, has that kind of gotten corrected?
It should have been, Sandra. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
good.
Sandra's leads, and we never did figure out exactly how that happened. She had a ton of leads because they got put into Vulcan twice. So
yeah.
That'll make sure you prospect more. You just call everybody twice.
Yeah. Y'all may be doing my probate.
Exactly. We're learned, guys. We're not perfect. We keep trying to improve this process and make it better for everybody.
All right.
All right. All right. Somebody's whistling goodbye to us there, I guess. Last chance. One more question, or are we good, guys? All right. Keep whistling, whoever's doing it. It sounds like you're making a pot of tea or something. Guys, you know how to reach us. Thank you for showing up today. Thank you for being pioneers in this business, and we look forward to talking to you next week with a whole new list of wins. You guys get out there and make things happen.
Thank you.
All right.